And hello there. I am using a different style of recording right now through YouTube. So here we are again, happy as can be, all good pals and jolly good company. Hey! Okay, so we have our Eragon book. We are on chapter 14, A Rider's Blade. A few things I wanted to talk about from this chapter. First of all, big thank you and shout out to we are Inherifreaks. I am at my store right now, and this is my swivel chair. Woo! Okay. Um, so wanted to talk about a few things. Rider's Blade. Basically, we're starting off with Eragon has just seen his uncle Garrow die. This is the man that he's known as father basically his whole life. So then this guy dies, and he starts freaking out, and he's like, my whole life just turned upside down. Not only did I find a dragon's egg, but it hatched for me, and now I actually am connected to a dragon. There's a shiny thing on my right hand, not my left hand, my right hand. There's this shiny thing, and I can hear thoughts and talk with my mind to a dragon, and these scary people that I don't even know if they're people. They came and destroyed my home, and they killed my uncle. My cousin is gone and missing, and what the frick? And there's no skin inside on my inner thighs. Okay, so we pick up the story there, and who is it that encourages Eragon to pursue the Razak? It is Saphira. Interesting change here. Saphira had to be convinced by Eragon to leave the spine to go back and rescue Garrow. However, it is now Eragon who wants to stay and remain safe, and it is Saphira who says, look, we are a dragon and rider, and it is our duty to fly into the face of fear and to attack and to pursue these individuals that have come and killed Garrow. So he decides, I'm going to go. And he leaves Horst's home after a couple things happen there, and he decides, well, I got to get some food, I got to get some leather, I got to get a couple things. So who runs into him? Of course, Braum. Hello, Braum. Which we will later learn is a very significant part of Eragon's life. So Braum says, why are you running off? Where do you think you're going? There's something that I wanted to mention specifically. He says, I know once again that the riders live. And Eragon says, Saphira, we've been discovered. I need you. And he sent her a picture of where he was, and she took off immediately. And then he said to Braum, how did you find out? And Braum stared into the distance and moved his lips soundlessly as if he were talking to someone else. In that moment, he was talking with Saphira. Interestingly enough, how much did he actually share with Saphira? Because there was a split second there. He's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? He looks off to the side real quick and just says some things, and then Saphira says, I will watch for a time. And Eragon says, why? Come and get me. And she says, because of the slaughter at Doru Areba. Now, how much did Braum share in that split second? And it just kind of dawned on me, in this world that Christopher Paolini's creating, and these ideas of being able to talk to a dragon mentally and communicate full sentences, the way that we speak with our mouths is not the same that we're going to be communicating with our brains if we were a rider. So a rider is able to communicate very, very quickly. It's almost as if a simultaneous knowing happens. When you think it, they get it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was really interesting, and that is something that I wanted to mention. So then Braum again finds out, wow, you rode Saphira, you flew on her, and that's why the skin on your legs is gone. Also, when they meet, Saphira's like, I like this guy. He's hot. Now she says, I like him. He's a good guy. And of course Eragon's like, well, sure, because he's flattering you. That's why you like him. Then later on, what they do is they create a little hideaway inside of some brambles in the forest. and that's where they get to really talk. And okay, here it is right here. Brahm says, you know, I have a vested interest in keeping you alive. To put it bluntly, I'm a storyteller. I happen to think that you'll make a fine story. Now, Brahm is crafty, okay? We all know that he wasn't just a storyteller, but he's crafty, and he still needs to keep up his persona at this point with Eragon. So he says, you're the first writer to exist. What will happen? Will you become a martyr? Will you join the Varden? Will you kill King Galbatorix? All fascinating questions, and I'll be there to see every bit of it, no matter what I have to do. But in his heart and in his mind, you know that Brahm is thinking, this is a crucial moment in history. Very, very crucial. Okay, he says this, very well, if it answers you want, but they may not be to your liking. Then he goes up, brings his pack over to the fire, and pulls out a long object. It was about 3.5 feet long, and the way he handled it, rather heavy. He peeled back the cloth strip by strip, and Eragon gazed transfixed as his sword was revealed. Um, the handle fit Eragon's hand as if it had been made for him. The flat blade was an iridescent red and shimmered in the firelight. The keen edges, da-da-da-da-da. And Brahm says, it was once a rider's blade. When a rider finished his training, the elves would present him with a sword. Their methods of forging have always remained secret. However, their swords are eternally sharp and will never stain. The custom was to have the blade's color match that of the dragon, but I think we can make an exception in this case. The sword is named Zarok. I don't know what it means. Probably something personal to the rider who owned it. And so here he gets Zarok, which we all will find out later is Morzan's sword. This is a crucial moment. Eragon's identity is starting to be developed as a dragon rider, and he's thinking, wow, I am a dragon rider. I do have to fly in the face of fear, and the questions that Brahm is saying to me, will I join the Varden? Will I kill King Galbatorix? Will I do these things? The interesting to me is that this chapter deals a lot with Eragon's deciding to accept his identity as a rider and all of the functions thereof. So he has to go a lot. He has to mature a lot in this chapter. And as far as the early chapters, we see there's a lot of maturity going on and a lot of growth going on. Last little section of this chapter, he talks about the Razak, and this is where we actually find out that they are called the Razak. And Eragon says, do you have any idea who they are? And he says, they're called the Razak. No one knows if that's the name of their race or what they have chosen to call themselves. Either way, if they have individual names, they keep them hidden. The Razak were never seen before Galbatorix came to power. Interesting. In Eldest, we'll learn from Oramis a little bit more about the Leatherblocka and the Razak. The Leatherblocka and the Razak feed on humans, not dragon eggs. Okay, I remember our last theory about the dragon eggs. It's not that they specifically eat dragon eggs. They eat humans. But I personally think that the Razak were egg breakers. That's just my thing. But anyways. Okay. Either way, they have... I can tell you this. They aren't human. It appeared to have something resembling a beak and black eyes as large as my fist. How they manage their speech, our speech, is a mystery to me. Doubtless the rest of their bodies are just as twisted. Okay, as for their powers, they're stronger than any man, can jump incredible heights, they cannot use magic. Be thankful for that, because if they could, you would already be in their grasp. I also know that they have a strong aversion to sunlight, though it won't stop them if they're determined. Don't make the mistake of underestimating the Razak, for they are cunning and full of guile. There's only 2, but there may be more. I've never heard of them. Perhaps they're the last of a dying race. Now, what's cool about in Eldest, when we learn from Oramis a little bit more about the Leatherblocka and the Razak, a trail of death often follows them. They are the king's personal dragon hunters. He sends the Razak to investigate all the dragon whispers and rumors and murmurs. So we have more information about the Razak now, and then we have the beginning of all the questions that Eragon has about Brahm, which I think will never end. Correct? Brahm is a mysterious, mysterious man. Okay, so that's it for this chapter. Thank you guys, and look, I've got a couple new recordings coming out. And by the way, I just liked a couple of the other videos I put on my other page. A couple original songs that I sang for my wife at our wedding. So feel free to go check those out. And I'll be coming up with saddle making pretty soon here. Okay? Thank you guys. How do I stop this one? There we go.